Nobody thought Doom in 2016 was gonna be as good as it was. It had been 12 years since the last Doom game, Doom 3 in 2004. id Software themselves had undergone massive changes during this time. They stopped developing their core games for a long time, and they almost seemed like they went into developer hiding. In the decade to come, they only worked on a handful of games, most notably RPG versions of Doom and Wolfenstein on mobile. They went on to release Rage in 2011, but it was full of problems and quite honestly not that great of a game. Coming from id Software, once looked at as one of the best and most groundbreaking developers on the planet, this was all quite a shock to the industry. This industry has changed a lot since the days of the original Doom. It ain't nothing like it used to be. The modern military shooter became popular as arena-style shooting games began to die down, ultimately becoming nearly extinct in the years to come. So when they finally put their foot down and announced they would be developing a reboot of Doom that would harken back to the good old days of classic id games, nobody knew what to expect. But long story short, they pulled off one hell of a game. I went into Doom's reboot thinking it was going to be just one big fat cliche. Another kick-ass, you ain't got nothing on me style main character, and a demonic invasion from hell. I mean, this is so 1990. But wrong, this is one of the most badass games I've ever played. Anybody who remembers what made the original game great in 1999 knows that Doom wants you to shoot up a lot of demons and feel cool while doing it. Doom wasn't my first experience with a shooting game on the PC, but it was certainly the best back in the day. The reboot of Doom treads a fine line between giving players the original feel of the first game while rehauling its tried and true principles to suit modern gamers. It's faster, more in your face, yet certainly familiar to anyone who played the original titles. Doom was rebooted in 2016 and the FPS genre had come a long way by this time. It more or less ditched the traditional maze and arena-like shooting tropes born from games like Unreal, Wolfenstein, and Doom a long time ago. Unique games like Shadow Warrior carried the torch for a while, but it was the Doom reboots that truly brought the arena-style shooting game back to life. The opening to this game was as non-BS as they come. You're strapped into a chair in chains, and a demon is walking towards you, looks like he wants to kill your ass. So what do you imagine a badass space marine is gonna do about it? Sit there and take the disrespect? Hell no, you're a badass killer. So Doom guy rips his own chains off and smashes the demon's head off. I mean, what else is he gonna do? It's so awesome. Everything is so visceral. You get up close and personal with just about everything. Executions are gritty and bloody. You smash the crap out of just about everything. Even your character is giving you this death stare like he's about to kill someone in the menu. Everything just screams blood, guts, death in this game. I love it. You think you'd get bored of the endless glory kills in the arena-like levels, but you don't. I'll admit that the game is a little bit repetitive, but then again, so is any arena shooting game. You'll do a lot of shooting, running around a lot of arena and scenario-like environments, blowing stuff up, grabbing keycards, and progressing through the game's various levels. The Doom reboot is one of the fastest games though, one of the fastest first-person shooting games on the market. A welcome change to the very slow-paced modern military games that are peppering the landscape today. You play a violent dance of killing, bouncing between enemy executions while looming dangerously close to death during the game's more challenging levels. The devil is in the details though. Doom was designed to make you want to hold forward and those fire buttons on your controller at all times given how the health management system works. Gone are the days of regenerating health, thank God. You must instead rush to the nearest enemy and glory kill them if you want to get some health back. Executing enemies showers the ground with health globules that you can use to top yourself off. I love this system because I always felt like I was in the action, not some scared chump running off to a corner to let the game heal me. Instead, it's never-ending carnage. One of the most important elements to a first-person shooting game is definitely feedback, and Doom does a great job making the guns feel very powerful. The game feels weighty, the combat kicks, and the catalog of intensely intimate and at times uncomfortably close animations make you feel like you're truly in the game. And if you need ammo, the same steps apply. Just whip out your trusty chainsaw, stay in the action, and carve up enemies into explosions of ammo pickups to resupply your arsenal. I also loved the power-up system. These glowing balls of goodness illuminates Doom's various levels, and given how agile you are as a character, you can usually grab them exactly when you need them. On the harder difficulties, you will need to utilize these three systems, health, ammo, and power-ups, to make it out alive, and it's here that the game really starts to shine. Doom is definitely a challenge on Nightmare, and you'll need to strategize on the fly, which is the game's mainstay. Shooting, executing, picking up what you need, and strafing to stay alive. It keeps you on your toes and surrounded by action. This trifecta of mechanics is a noteworthy departure from the norm, and a welcome one too, cementing Doom's reboot in 2016 as a breath of fresh air. As you progress through the game, Doom throws more challenging mixes of enemies at you, from chargers to demons that shoot projectiles to other enemies that you should kill in packs. The game constantly changes up these combinations, which always keeps the engagements fresh. Doom's levels use it to great advantage too, including one of my favorites, the Foundry. There are a series of fights that take place in narrow walkways sitting atop pools of molten metal lava. You've got to deal with groups of Hell Knights while dodging to avoid taking damage and pumping enough rounds into them to kill them while making sure not to fall off the damn thing. There are so many of these awesome moments in Doom. It's one of the most enjoyable combat systems I've ever played in a first-person shooter. It turns the classic hide-behind-cover scenario FPS into a skill and thought-based game, so long as you crank up that difficulty. At some point though, the gameplay does get a little bit routine, if not routine then at least a little bit exhaustive. Thankfully, Doom's story is actually better than expected because it's kept to a minimum and the game lets the environments kind of do the talking. It doesn't bog you down with cutscenes or take you out of the action. You'll sort out all the plot elements and what's going on just by walking around, and that's pretty cool. That style doesn't work for every game, especially games that really need a narrative helping hand, but in this game, because the game focuses on the action, it's perfectly at home. And to combat the game's potentially repetitive nature, Doom does try to mix it up by incorporating collectible style platforming via the double jump boots. While some can see this as a forced introduction, it does have a nice weight to it and provides a good distraction from all the hoopla running and gunning, at least in my opinion. Normally, I do not like first-person platforming, with the exception of something maybe like Dying Light. But Doom does a pretty good job with it, let's be honest. But Doom is still a shooting game, through and through. It's a guilt-free murder fest that will last you around 8 to 10 hours. I was absolutely pumped the entire playthrough, with Doom's killer soundtrack thumping and grinding in my ears the entire time. It put me in kind of a trance-like state as I performed the Doom Death Dance, flowing around its arenas and picking apart onslaught after onslaught of increasingly difficult demons. I felt like a well-oiled machine while playing Doom, automatic, cold, and calculated, an efficient killer. I wish that the game had a New Game Plus mode, although you can still select which chapter you'd like to replay from the menu. That's one of the dings I have for this game, but of course New Game Plus is usually only a nice to have, definitely not a requirement, so we can't really hold it against it. Still, it's one of the most heart-racing and enjoyable single-player experiences to date, and it tastes all the more sweet watching the industry steer time and time again away from single-player games like they have the clap. It's a mature game for people who want to engage with an in-your-face badass experience and who won't shy away from getting dirty, and for people who want one of the most kick-ass soundtracks thumping behind them while doing it. After the credits roll for the second time, I jumped into the multiplayer, but I never really got into it, nor the snap map mode. I'm not sure why, maybe the multiplayer beta just turned me off from the start. But for me, I'm always going to remember Doom's return to glory as a single-player game first, because that's where I feel like the game is at its best. Games like Doom don't come around very often, but I'm glad to see it was successful enough to spawn a sequel in Doom Eternal. I cannot wait to get my hands on it. Thanks for watching, dudes. We'll see you in our next video.